But, you know, come on.
Look, having to register for software programs or hardware is nothing new. We have been doing that for the better part of forever. And by putting it behind email and requiring you to register in order to use NVIDIA Experience is nothing new, and chances are they're also going to add other services upon that. Because people have been using their NVIDIA cards a lot for streaming.
Right.
So, by causing you to register to use NVIDIA Experience, they can then tie it better into other streaming services.
Well, one of the things that I heard was that they wanted to use it for marketing purposes.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, but that's nothing new. Have you noticed how Google does their advertising?
Yeah, banner ads.
Well, not just banner ads, but, like, Google and Facebook will start tailoring their ads depending on your actual browser history. So, that is no worse than having to put your email in there. You can always unsubscribe from the newsletter.
Yeah, but whoever hits the unsubscribe button anymore, rather than just put it in the spam filter.
Right, exactly. Oh no, they sent you an email now because you had to give them your email.
Yeah.
Filter that shit. And that's it. Done. Problem solved. Move on.
Yeah. And how YouTube Red is trying to do their advertisement.
Where are they in that? I know that they were moving to make a YouTube Red, but I don't think it exists yet.
No, it is out. You pay like $9.99 or something like that, and you don't have to do any ads or see any ads. And apparently it goes to the content creators like us. But there's some debate about what the percentage actually goes to the subscribers.
Well, okay, so the other thing is, that still doesn't prevent the fact that people use Adblock.
Exactly.
Secondly, there are now all of these other copyright issues that they ran into, which is why a whole bunch of videos no longer work, because certain people have not signed up to certain services, their content to be used in videos. I know Robbie was keeping track of this one British channel called Like a Version, and he can no longer view it because some of the songs that they use ran into these weird copyright issues, so they just don't allow the whole thing in the country.
Yeah.
And part of YouTube's thing is I am someplace, I am broke, and I want something to keep me entertained.
You could use like a dude from Canada.
Right.
Mexico.
But the thing is, YouTube started because people wanted content, and people wanted to provide content to everyone without issue.
Well, the problem with YouTube Red is that they're trying to force, like, studio or TV show or movie quality production, rather than how they started with people just uploading videos that no one really cares about.
Right. And while there are YouTubers now, where a few years ago there were not YouTubers, while I understand that that was a natural progression, eventually people just start doing their whole... This is the same thing that Blip used to do, where if you wanted to do a professional web series, you got a hold of Blip. Blip was like, sweet, we'll get you guys some ad revenue, we'll work with you, it's great. And then people started going over to YouTube because the whole process was easier, and there weren't regulations. And a lot of people get super popular. Mostly, if you're watching a thing or playing a scary game with a webcam, you win.
Yeah.
And that's still a decent enough formula. People still get there's PewDiePie, and there's Markiplier, and their whole thing is they have a webcam and they scream because things are scary. And I watch those things, but part of it is if you're anywhere with any device that has internet connection, you can go to YouTube and watch something and keep yourself entertained.
Yeah.
And with YouTube Red and the whole shifting things and locking country regions, that takes away a lot of what made YouTube popular to begin with, which is the same things that let it beat out its competition. They are now becoming their competition.
Yeah. And one of the things about YouTube Red, one of the reasons it came about was because YouTube's not profitable. I mean, to get like 720 4K video streamed as fast as
fast as it gets streamed to you, that takes a lot of back-end support. I mean, you have these data centers like all throughout the world just providing you these servers, and they're trying to like recoup some of these losses. You know, Google said YouTube's not profitable.
Right, but the thing is, YouTube is profitable enough and used enough where people don't give a shit.
Yes.
And the rest of Google is perfectly capable of supporting YouTube indefinitely.
Well, Google's now under, what is it, Alphabet Soup? I mean, yeah, Alphabet Soup. Yum yum. Isn't Google delicious? No. Alphabet, they like created a company so that like they can pursue like their quantum computing in this area and like random research projects over here, and then you have Google here.
I have no idea.
Yes, that is why they did it.
I know, like NVIDIA, Intel, Motorola, all these people have research and development. That's nothing new.
Yeah.
But yeah, trying to make something that was never meant to be profitable, and then hurting the people that were trying to use the service.
Well, you know, that people complained about, well, like how Adblock starts to have these whitelists because they got a lot of pressure from different places. Like there's two sides of the story about Adblock. You know, you can't sometimes these ads, you know, super flashy and super invasive. You can't even tell where you're supposed to click. But at the other end, you know, if you want to support the people that you go to, like if you're gonna watch your YouTube channels or you go to your favorite website, turn off Adblock for those sites. But if you're just gonna surf the web looking for shit,
yeah, my biggest whole reason why I use Adblock is there are certain web pages whose format gets so completely and utterly destroyed by the ads they have zero control over that it's an unreadable mess.
yeah.
And when you take out the ad block, you're like, oh, this looks like a regular web page now.
Yeah.
I ran into that issue with the Escapist back in the day.
Yeah.
And
there's a website for you. The only good thing on that is zero punctuation.
Well, I like the big picture.
Yeah.
A lot of the Bob stuff there.
Steam's
But,
got
like,
the big picture too.
Even it's a different thing. But like even Sprudge for the coffee news, if you don't block the ads, the whole site is just one giant ad with some text in it. And I can't read that. It's unreadable. And I understand there's a point where people are trying to be profitable, but then there's also a point where if people can't use your stuff because you're focusing so much on the ads,
Yeah.
then you need to just dial that back a bit.
Maybe open a Patreon or Indiegogo or GoFundMe.
Well, the thing with Sprudge, at least, is Sprudge has people that sponsor them and their content. And a lot of places have sponsors, the bigger web pages. The Escapist has people that sponsor them, and part of it is they want a little bit more, so they do the ads, and then they get through with the ads. And all of that adds up together and makes it a decently profitable website, and people can support their whole selves on that. But
You also want to diversify a little. Oh, and you know, baked-in ads are another way.
right, if you go and the latest game that is currently being released is Fallout 4. If you go to Escapist, I guarantee it'll be so plastered all over that site. Hell, GameFAQs does the same thing.
Yeah.
And they are only FAQs for old games.
Remember Game Winners?
No, not even once.
Or Game Copy World?
Oh, I did. That was to get the
No C.
no C patches.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you need to be careful with the website. Just, man, Don't ever download a thing from them.
No.
Once. You make that mistake once and you move on.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of mistakes, not enabling Adblock when there could be malware in the ads. Because
Well, a lot of that has to do with ActiveX controls, and that's an easy enough to one.
But you won't have to worry about it like on like Nvidia or Intel or like ASUS or any of those big, websites.
Right.
It's always like that.
Most of the time that there are drive-by malware is because you have ActiveX controlled. That's an easy one to avoid.
Does anyone use ActiveX?
It's literally just it has only been. It wasn't like okay, so. When Firefox is like, we're going to have add-ons, and they have this whole architecture built for add-ons, and it's super great, and it works super great, and Microsoft was like, what if we gave that ability to Internet Explorer, but at the same time, we also forgot that Internet Explorer is now so firmly wedged into Windows that if an ActiveX control has administrative control over Internet Explorer, it also has the same control over most of our system.
Yeah.
So you're like, oh, I'll just have that. And a malware is like, hey, I totally have permission to run. And Internet Explorer is like, okay. And bam, viruses everywhere.
So many toolbars that it's like half the
Oh,
screen.
no, oh god. When I was still working at Morrisville's help desk, there was a computer that literally had this much internet on this huge screen. Just, this is all I need. This is fine. I can read this. God, I'm so glad that installing those toolbars is no longer just tied into everything.
Edge doesn't even let you use it anymore.
Right, well, the whole reason Edge doesn't have add-on support is because they learned their lesson.
Yeah.
They have to figure out how to do awful bad about it.
And
they're just like, we can't, so we'll just give up. And good for Microsoft for understanding that there's something they just can't do.
Well, they couldn't explain. Well, I mean, it's still on there, but you have to enable it this time, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, no, I think it
enabled?
sometimes comes new.
I know Windows 8 had like an app version of Internet Explorer, and then you had the desktop version.
Oh, that was all the same thing.
That was.
You can still enable Windows or Internet Explorer 12's the new one. Yeah, but you have to go through add and remove programs to do that.
yeah.
If you do the upgrade, it's still there. If you get a fresh system that has 10 on it, I don't believe it's there because of Edge.
Yeah. Poor people it's like people who use AOL.
Nobody uses AOL.
Oh! So Yahoo is blocking people who have Adblock. You get up a message.
Yahoo is?
Yeah. Yahoo Mail.
Oh man.
It's like... Okay.
All of the people that still use Yahoo?
I have an old Yahoo account that I just put all the
we
spam
all
stuff.
have old Yahoo accounts. We've learned our lessons. We've moved on.
The Yahoo spam filter actually got a lot better in recent time. Maybe they just...
Yeah, that's because they just were like, God, we have to be better than Google. I mean, we're not going to be, but we should be at least as good as Google.
No.
Which is why they started releasing the Y-mail account. Gmail, but with a Y.
Yeah. Now, so is AOL above Yahoo or is Yahoo above AOL?
Well, I put Yahoo and AOL in the same category because they are literally the same thing.
Yeah.
They were always in competition with each other. You go to AOL's homepage or Yahoo's homepage, and it's all of the shit right there in front of your face. And that's what they were supposed to be. They were supposed to be a quick, easy, newspaper-like starting page for your computer when you're on the internet. And back in the dial-up days, sweet. It would fuck you up your whole... It'll take an eternity to load. And as the internet got better, it loaded faster, and then people realized it was utter shit. You could just go to an actual news website, or an actual good email place, or any of these other things. And Google, instead of putting it all on the one page, they separated it.
So if you want Google News, you can go to Google News. If you want Google Weather, there's Google Weather. If you want Google Maps, there's Google Maps. They didn't put it all in one page.
But does anyone use anything other than Google? I mean, I still know, like, my grandma still uses MapQuest.
What?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, no, my dad does too. But only because my stepmother uses it, only because they don't understand Google Maps is better. They don't use Alta Vista.
Yes. Yes.
Which was also super popular back in the day.
Yeah. Yeah.
God. Ugh, the dial-up days.
Netscape Navigator?
Well, Netscape Navigator is now Firefox.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, so the whole Netscape Navigator is a very interesting story. So there was Netscape Navigator, closed source browser, the major competitor to Internet Explorer. Yeah, AOL had a browser. That's nice. Anyway, so Netscape Navigator hit I think it was 4.7 was the last Netscape Navigator, and then there was Netscape Communicator, which was a fork off their main one that had slightly better email. I don't 100% remember the difference between them other than size. But what happened after that point, they were like, open our source code, and now let anybody edit it. And they're like, well, nobody's done that before.
And they're like, okay, so what we'll do is we'll restructure. We're now the Mozilla Foundation. We'll release Netscape Navigator as Mozilla Firefox and release the source code with it. And they did, and they immediately turned around. And Firefox, if you look at the first version of Firefox as compared to what Netscape Navigator looked like, it's like night and day.
Yeah.
And they added add-on support, and it's a super solid browser. And I like it. And I also like Chrome, but only Chrome was built well after without having to... The thing Google does is they like, okay, we're going to make an email client,
Yeah.
and we're going to make a web browser, we're going to make a search engine, and we're going to have all of these built to be like, they're only have on internet computers. We want to start with the concept of making them really good on their own, and that people have good internet and a good machine. Where, like Internet Explorer, originally Internet Explorer and Windows Explorer were the same. Like, you could browse your file system on it, or you can browse a web page on it. And so a lot of Internet Explorer's problems that they ran into were that when they separated it, they didn't separate it well enough. But Google develops their technologies with...
What if we built a browser that was built to browse the internet on a good machine with the knowledge nowadays, as opposed to guessing or being tied up with the fact that people use dial-up? And
No, he's
right, AOL's browser was a good example of a browser who everything, even when you did not know, when you no longer had dial-up, internet or the AOL browser still behaved like you had dial-up.
Mm-hmm.
So it would sit, send out data, wait for it to return, and then browse. Because they wanted to make your dial-up connection the most effective. So when people switch to broadband, and they're like, oh, we don't really need to do this anymore. It's just getting weirder and slower.
Yeah. UDP, anyone?
And Chrome, as opposed to Firefox, the biggest difference, open multiple tabs in Chrome, they're each their own separate instance.
Yeah. But this
So if one tab crashes,
the whole thing does not crash.
is...
And Firefox is the opposite, where they all open up within the same process, and if one tab crashes, they all crash. I think they fixed it where if one tab crashes, they can close the one, but it's a lot lighter on the resources because they don't... If you have 60 tabs open in Chrome,
your computer will feel it. If you have 60 tabs open in Firefox, your computer will not feel it as much.
Yes. And as we all know, computers like to feel.
Right. You will notice it less.
Yeah. Okay. Isn't Chrome a little less secure?
Well,
I had a teacher in college, a help desk support teacher, told me that Chrome was the most penetrable.
does she have an example?
No. It was her first year teaching.
Okay. Something is less secure than something else. Typically, you will have an example.
I think they have talking about penetration testing.
Like, how easy was it to steal your information through Chrome versus a Firefox or Internet Explorer?
Well, I don't have any data on that.
Right. Next topic. This episode has been about advertisements and
Browser preferences.
yes, browser preference.
Over on Linux land, links, super great
Yeah,
if you like command line web browsers.
And
I've used one once.
yeah, absolutely. I have it installed. It's secure HTML code. Looks great without the CSS applied to it. Links. It's
Check
fun.
the card out for more information.
It's fun. It loads things faster than any other browser out there because it doesn't load anything but the text.
yes.
It literally just goes, if we're taking that like 60 kilobyte file, here it is.
My website looks pretty good because it's all text anyway.
Right. But, like the one place I work for, the coffee company's website does not look good if you're breaking it up in links.
Yeah.
Because the whole web,
The top part of it is all JavaScript,
Yeah, and that doesn't work.
and JavaScript doesn't work in it, so it looks terrible. But if you look some other parts of the website that were coded not like the main website,
it's readable.
Yeah.
And totally functions.
So,
Even with the drop down menus, it's really neat.
yeah. Thanks for watching. There for more videos. There for more videos. And always, thanks for watching. Hit that like if you didn't like it. Go ahead, get subscribed. And if you have any comments
that are worth reading, we'll do something. Just put them down there in the boombox. Alright. Have a good time. Bye.